Smathers Libraries at the University of Florida. And how many of you are new to the University of Florida? Okay, cool. So I'm going to teach you probably the most important thing you need to know if you're researchers, especially in the sciences. Are all of you researchers in the sciences? Yes, okay. So this is the home page for the Smathers Libraries. So the address for that is uflib.ufl.edu. I do not have a handout because I don't want you to be dependent on a handout in order to be able to learn how to find these resources. Okay, so please pay attention. So this is where I would recommend you always start when you're coming into the library, because you never know what's going to be on the home page, what kind of announcements. Sometimes there are grant-seeking workshops that are announced there, and other important information that most people don't know about. Unless you have your computer maybe set up as the home page to go to the libraries, you'll be out of the loop. And I would really recommend that you do that, because I learned so much about what's going on and what's available to me by having the libraries as my home page. So in order to get to the grants, it's a funding opportunities library guide or LibGuide that I created for the campus. It's a one-stop shop for everything that you need in order to be a grant writer. Okay, there isn't another place on campus that organizes all the campus resources into one location. So if you come to using the libraries and you click on grants resource or grant resources. So remember, using the libraries, click on grant resources. You will come to my page, and because this is set up this way in order for you to see it, it's kind of a truncated version of what's on here. But I'm going to teach you how to use this. So there are basically 3 tabs up here that separate the information that I think are the most important tabs for you. One is find databases. So in order to find resources that are applicable to you, you need to be able to access databases to do your searches. The next one would be past UF grant proposals. What we've done is I've tried to collect as many grant proposals as possible. Most of them are successful, especially for fellowships. So there's a difference in the semantics here. There's a difference between fellowships and grants. Usually grants are made to an institution, and usually fellowships are made to individuals for you, meaning the money goes to your pocket as opposed to coming to the university. Sometimes fellowship money comes through the university to your pocket, okay? But if you understand these 2 different terms, fellowships versus grants, a grant, you might want to partner with a professor, or a professor might invite you to be part of his or her grant, research grant. You want to do that. Never say no, okay? Don't let fear interfere with your development and professional growth. So if someone invites you to be part of a grant project, say yes, no matter what, because that's one of the only ways you're going to learn how to do this work. And if you're going to need research funding in the future, then you should learn as soon as possible. The other way of learning about grant writing and strategies is to read other people's proposals, correct? So you would go here to past UF grant proposals and read other people's proposals. And why do you think they do this? Why do you think you would post your grant proposal in the institutional repository for everybody to see? Because sharing isn't actually bad for you, right? You have no idea what kind of opportunities will come your way if you share your research. People are afraid about competition and somebody's going to steal my idea. But usually research is so very, very narrow that nobody's going to compete with you. It's just about learning and putting things out there in open access. And librarians and libraries all believe that open access is the most important thing about learning and sharing information. So the other the other tab that you need to have access to is this one, Find Funding for Students, Faculty, and Postdocs. That's a little database, or it's actually not a database, but it's a PDF that I tried to load different opportunities onto that, and we're going to go to that. And the final one is this tab, which is how to write grants. So in that tab, I've collected more than 20 videos on how to write grant proposals, mostly on how to write fellowship proposals for workshops that I've given for NSF, application deadlines, and it's not just myself, it's the authorities, it's people who are on the grant panels that actually work at UF as professors that have joined me in these workshops. So I'll show you a little bit about that. Yes?
Accepting a grant means you get money also, right?
It means you get money,
Okay.
not also.
Sure.
Okay, it's okay, yes. You have to understand that people come in at all different levels and don't really understand this, this genre or this discipline of grant writing. And until you start doing it, you're not going to learn the semantics involved in what this is about. The more you read and the more you look for information, the better. So find databases, let's look at that. Okay, first I'd like to show you, this is a little bit difficult. Okay. So this is a link to the FYI newsletter. It's put out bi-weekly by the Office of Research here on campus. You probably want to subscribe to this so that you will get a notification of all of the grant opportunities available that have been researched that are appropriate for UF. I'm not going to click on it because it might take too much time and I'll run out of time here, but go there and what's well, let me click on it. What's unique about this is, I can't help myself, is that, oh, it's password protected, so I'm not going to do that actually. It's closed to anyone outside of UF, so you enter your password for your data link and then you can get in. So you're going to see a bunch of announcements and they'll say the latest announcements, right? So the ones that are due tomorrow or next week. And you can look at those, and if you click on a few of those links, and they're divided up into science and humanities and arts, right? So you click on those links, and once you get to the actual sponsor, okay, the word sponsor is also funder, but we use the word sponsor in university settings. So you're looking for the sponsor's website so that you can find out two things. Eligibility is the first thing you want to find out about. Are you eligible? So if you're an international student, many times there's restrictions that say we do not fund international students who are not citizens of this country. Or we do not fund people in the medical sciences because there's so much funding for them. Or we don't fund biomedical research. So you want to check out the eligibility first. The second thing you want to check out is the deadline. So if you narrow down your searching to, I want to see if I'm eligible, if it's my program area, and if I'm the right candidate for this funding, and I want to know what the deadline is. And then you can start to make your own calendar of what applications are due, when they're due, and put the links there so that you have a customized research tool that you can go back to in the future. The other thing you need to know is that we have this, the libraries pays for this, and it's a database of funding opportunities. It's about 9,000 funding opportunities with deadlines, and it's a great search engine, as opposed to this one that is larger, has it's more than 25,000 records, but the quality of the information you get from your searches is not as good as the quality that you get from IRIS. And this one is better for the humanities, social sciences, anything except for science. But you'll find some good sciences here. So I would say practice using this one. And then go to this one and look at the difference in the results that you get. You're going to get maybe things that are expired. things that, you'll get so many search results that it's impossible for you to deal with them. You understand? Has that happened to you? So you get, 9,000 answers to your question, yes?
So that website's not well maintained, but it does have the science opportunity?
Yes, and this one is strong. It says social sciences, humanities, and sciences. It's stronger in the humanities, but you'll do way better if you use this initially to learn and to see what's available, because it's going to be obvious what's a good search result as opposed to this one. Now, the FYI newsletter uses this one, and they call it. So this is the better one to subscribe to, and then this one, and then this would be the third one that I would subscribe to, so that you're not wasting your time. Okay, grants.gov for government funding, and you want to know what's going on in terms of government funding and deadlines, use this one. And the Chronicle of Philanthropy is mostly private funding from foundations, not government grants. And the library subscribes to this, so you can go there and see what the deadlines are. If you're not going to play with this, if you're not going to spend time looking at these searches and finding out what's available on, I would say at least a monthly basis, then I would say you're not really serious about grant funding. And if you start at the beginning of your career and move through this and keep learning about what's available, let me just say that in the grants world, it's not black and white. Okay, it's not made easy for you, the consumer. You're the consumer. There's far too many consumers in ratio to the number of opportunities. So the sponsors are not going to really help you sufficiently. It might say in one description that they give funding for X, but if you go to the sponsor website, it says, oh, they also give funding to scholars. But if you didn't go to that website, you wouldn't have known that there was funding for scholars. So that's what I'm trying to say is, the more time you spend researching and looking at opportunities and participating and reading grant proposals, the better your results are going to be, and the more educated you're going to be. Don't expect somebody to spoon feed you in this area, because it's never going to happen. None of the professors have time to teach this. I've been doing this for close to 30 years. So writing proposals and being on grant panels and reviewing grant proposals. So, okay, so let me go to the other resources that we have. Okay, so then find funding for students, faculty, and postdocs. And this is something my office created when I had and I could afford students to work for me. This is what they did for me. And what's this?
Don't read and press accept.
Okay. So this is a table of contents for fellowship applications that we've found for students that are good. And it's divided up into funding for undergraduates, etc., funding for graduates, postdocs, and faculty. And at the bottom, we also have funding for international students. It's not liking me.
Domain is crashed.
Okay. So that was the table of contents. If you go further down, we've done an annotated summary, which gives you what you need. Who's eligible? What's the deadline? How much money is available for that opportunity? And the sponsor's link. So then you would just go to the sponsor's link and see. Don't go there if you don't think it's applicable, because we've already done all of the initial work for you. Then how to write grants. How long do I have, Melody? Do we know?
You have until 10:30, I think.
Until 10:30? Okay. So this button is, you can't see it, it's how to write grants. Okay, so when I arrived here in October of 2008, we didn't have any of this. We didn't have videos on how to write grants, etc. for students. And I thought it was important to do that, even though my primary job is to take care of the librarians. But I thought it was important to help the students as well. So The first section is not applicable to you. Then workshops for students. So, and we tried to, tape everybody else's workshops that had nothing to do with the libraries and stick them on here. So, grants and fellowship conferences. These conference videos are actually individual sessions that you missed because they're in the summertime. And we filmed all of those conference workshops, and now they're available here. So I would watch all of them if you're interested in writing grants. So if you want to learn about effective written communication, this is a really great video. We don't put videos up that are not, okay? So I would say this is a curated site for only the best of them. So all of these are conference videos, so you could virtually attend that conference if you just watch all the videos. And it was a full day conference. And then if you move further down, you're going to see fellowship conference, international funding for domestic students. That was mine. That was actually a Fulbright one. And then I have one here for international students that I did. Okay. So here are the NSF workshops that I've done in 2010, and these are the presenters, and we have slides and video. And here, if you go to this checklist, I'm not going to go there because it's a PDF file and I don't want to have any more problems. So once you look at a sponsor's guidelines, you're looking for the guidelines, okay? That's a key word. It's a technical word for the instructions, the recipe for getting funding. And you're looking at these guidelines. You create your own checklist. Don't depend on their checklist to take care of you. You create your own. Read the criteria for funding. The two things you need to know are read all the guidelines, but you want the criteria for how they're going to judge you, right? That's not always in the same section as the instructions for writing the application. So as you're creating your own checklist of requirements, you look for the criteria and then embed the criteria, how they're going to judge your proposal, embed that in your checklist, and make sure you answer questions that you invent that will speak to that criteria, okay? And then your score will be higher because the reviewer who is supposed to grade you on that criteria is going to see very obviously, oh, she's answered this question, oh, he addressed this issue. Most people don't read the criteria, so they don't get funded because it's not in the same section as the narrative requirements for the fellowship. So if you watch these videos, I guarantee you, you will feel so much better about writing these proposals. And they're divided up into, you see here it says biological sciences, and here is SBE. SBE stands for social, behavioral, and economics. Don't think that the National Science Foundation, because the word science is in the name, excludes the humanities or excludes social sciences, because they will include them. And you'll be surprised, there's lots of funding for educating students about the sciences, and that's education and not necessarily science. Yes?
How did you get to the site?
It's in my LibGuide.
Oh, okay.
And it's called How to Write Grants. The button is this one. Whoa. Well, it's this button right here. It's How to Write
Okay,
Grants.
so the main site is the one URL.
That I got to, it is, okay.
So
Oh, did you
there you
come
go.
late?
No. I just
Okay.
missed it, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So you're going to go to the home page. This is really important, so let me just see if I can get to the home page. Here's the home page of the libraries. UFL, the address is uflib.ufl.edu. You come to the home page, you click using the libraries, you click grant resources, and then you're at my LibGuide. So you click how to write grants. I have one more tab, past UF grant proposals. This is where you go to look for other people's successful grant proposals. That's what you want to read, right? Did I get there?
No.
It's not letting me go there. So when you get there, there's gonna be, so anybody have any, oh, it's trying. There we go, okay. So here's an example of this proposal, NSF predoctoral fellowship proposal, behavioral and neural mechanisms of altitudinal replacement in singing mice. So who would compete with that, right? It's a great proposal, I'm serious. It's got great stories in it, it's very engaging, and that's the quality of a good proposal.
Is she for real, like the mice are saying?
Yes, it's a specific a breed of mice, species of mice that sing. And it's an analysis of how they communicate with each other. And it's just the most fascinating thing. So why did he get funded? Because the reviewers wanted to read it. It wasn't boring, you know. Okay, so let me just show you. So you're gonna go here. Okay, so that's the institutional repository and it's maintained by the libraries. You're gonna go there. Hopefully it will let me do this. Okay, now you're in the institutional repository IR at UF. And you're in the section on grants. And then you're gonna type in this search collection. Let's see, how about Fulbright? So I'll show you our collection of Fulbright. I'm just typing in the word Fulbright into the search, and I have 19 results. And you can read Fulbright applications that have been funded. And they're not all for the same category. So, and also you'll find the conference video, but we have the conference video on the How to Write Grants tab as well. So, see, this is an English teaching assistantship. So Daniel Lambert kindly let us load his application here, and he probably applied to teach English in a foreign country, and that was his application, and he won that award. So he spent time in a foreign country speaking English, and that's how he did it. So you can see that this is a pretty valuable site now that we've gotten more and more people to agree to post their applications. So that's the extent of what I wanted to cover today in this short half hour. But so in review, if you set your homepage to the libraries, you're going to come to a lot of really great stuff that you would normally not know. If you keep looking at use my LibGuide for all your grants needs, you'll be up to date, and also you can subscribe to those databases. The two things that you want to look for in the application guidelines are the eligibility and the deadline. And then you want to see how much money normally people have been getting. But it doesn't matter. Even if you apply for supplies or a really small one, it goes on your vita, right? Anything related to grants that goes on your vita is going to make you employable, right? Okay, so even if you're the peon in the lab that takes stuff from point A to point B, and you're written into that grant proposal, you put that on your vita, okay? Go to every grant writing seminar, workshop you can. Find out from your professors what grants they've been getting lately, if they've been getting any, and if they need any help, if they would just like you to format their grant proposal. Whatever help that you can give to your professor, because he's probably, or she, has a list of proposals that they're going to be writing this year. And a lot of times they need help at the last minute. You can just make yourself available. I know it sounds funny and it sounds weird, but you have to get rid of your inhibitions about, oh, I shouldn't be talking to my professor about this, or that was a silly piece of advice that Bess de Farber gave in that grant writing thing. It's not. You want to show that you're interested in grant writing, because the only way to learn is by being in the process. And not assuming that anybody's going to teach you this at any great length or depth, but there is one grant writing course on campus that I would recommend that you take, and is offered in the spring, and it's through entomology. And they handle it, they take 70 students or 80 students every year, and you actually write proposals, and I'm one of the guest presenters that comes to talk about the humanities. I'm not sure who will be the professors for that course, but it's called grant writing or intro to grant writing, and it's for graduate students, PhD students, and also for postdocs. So I think we're done. And you can reach me, you can find me on my LIB guide and send me an email if you have any questions. Thanks for being here. Applause.